Hey there, this is Erica from Ever Educating, and this channel is teaching tips, tools, ideas, and resources for new college instructors. This week's video is the last in my series of 3 videos about my transition into instructional design. In today's video, I'll take you behind the scenes to give you a look at what my portfolio looked like when I was on the job search. So if you're looking for an instructional designer position and you're curious about how to create a portfolio, if you haven't actually done ID work specifically, here's one sample of what I did for my job search. So here's my portfolio. Like I said, it's on a page on my website. And I started with descriptions of my courses. So when I originally created my website, it was to stay in academia, to show what I teach, what I research, what I present on, what I publish on, etc. So I have a page on my website for every single course that I've taught. So not all sections of the course, but in general, teaching 101, 125, 170, 1101, etc. I have a page for each. So at the beginning here, I have, well, if you want to see descriptions of all the courses that I designed and taught, it links here and it takes it to my teach page where they have links to all of those pages. And again, a short description saying what will you find there. I've taught for 6 years. I've taught 20 sections of comp and literature courses, etc., etc. So just in the beginning, obviously most of my design experience comes from designing college courses. And so I had that at the very beginning. After that, originally this was the actual RISE course, but once my trial ended, I had created a video that is a tour of Articulate RISE, the 360, the course that I created. And so on the bottom here, I have this mini course was created during my free trial, right? So I let them know, hey, I was able to build this in a limited amount of time when I had the Articulate subscription. And so once again, I have here what the goal of the piece is, what is it about before they start actually watching the video. Then I have one about storyline, right? So I created a course module as if it was the last module of a larger course that's about Canvas. So again, I have the video version so they can see the recording. I make clear that I didn't record the voiceover element of it. It's just the actual slides on the screen and the transitions. So just a little information about creating this as well. After that, I have an interactive activity. So just giving them a sense of, hey, I can work with different EdTech tools to create some great things for students. And so in this case, it's pick an EdTech tool for your classroom. So I just made this to, again, show them how you can use Genially, in this case, to create a presentation that is, well designed and obviously uses a good amount of white space. It has interactive elements like over here. It moves you around depending on what you click. So just basically showing that I can design a slide deck that's interactive and that I can use, again, EdTech tools that are really great. And so a little description of that too. After that, a text-based storyboard for that activity that was right above. And so this is the link to a Google Doc where they can open it and there's a table and it's my storyboard for that activity. So I do make clear that I know visual storyboards are better for rapid prototyping, but this is great for just like quick initial feedback, in my opinion, text-based ones. And so that's why I created that one for this particular sample of my portfolio. I do think having a storyboard example is great. Storyboards aren't very common amongst college instructors, as far as I know, but it is a big thing in instructional design. So just proving that I can create one, I think is important for a portfolio. After that is this workbook. So if you're part of my newsletter, then you have seen this before, most likely. It's 60 plus pages going through designing your core syllabus, your schedule, icebreakers, major assignments, self-assessment for students, the first homework assignment. Like, it's a very intense workbook that I curate for those who are new to teaching. So in this case, I wanted to show them a longer, more sustained piece that's educational in nature. After that, a PowerPoint presentation. PowerPoint, Google Slides, right, are very popular in L&D and instructional design. And so in this case, again, it's just basically showing I can create a good PowerPoint presentation. So they can download it right here and they can see my use of white space, my use of design, my language usage, how I use transitions or animations to keep it pretty simple, but still make it a bit more visually engaging. So just a PowerPoint presentation. And again, I describe what's going on here. What I ended up doing throughout my samples is I made it tied to ID. So in this case, my presentation is about
creating an effective learning objective using the ABCD model, right? Earlier on, I talked about choosing your EdTech tool. So all of the things I'm creating are about teaching as well. So showing that I have the experience to talk about teaching, to talk about course design. Then, of course, since I have my YouTube channel, I have one video that's talking head style, and then also one that is an edtech tutorial with screen sharing. So I have both examples here because that's the most common types of videos I curate. I talk a bit about what I use to curate them and, what I do so. Then I have a blog post just to get a sense of, again, my writing style when there's no video involved. And then finally, an infographic. I create infographics a lot when I teach, and I think it's going to be a really helpful tool for students. And so I wanted to show, hey, I can create a infographic here, and again, using, in this case, Canva. So throughout my descriptions, I do include, what tools am I using to create these things. So my blog, I use WordPress. I use this camera and Loom. I edit with Flixhere. So just kind of going through and saying, hey, here's a sample of various elements of ID that I might need to make for your particular job role. I can do it. Here's some evidence of it. And so they can just kind of go through here and pick and choose what they want to see. And that's my portfolio in a nutshell. So if you haven't created one, there's different types, of course. I recommend doing some research and seeing more than just this one. But this is because I didn't have, until recently, specific ID experience. And so I created various resources and tools and materials that can prove my ability to do it, even though I didn't have, hey, this is what I created for this company, right? I didn't have those. But there's still plenty you can put in your portfolio, if you take the time to do so.
If you found this video helpful, click like and let me know. And again, we'll shift back into teaching tips and advice and edit tutorials starting next week. So subscribe if you don't want to miss out on that content.